Welcome to my channel. I stared at the stunning blue waters, observing the tiny waves wash onto the immaculate white sand. I experienced such serenity and joy being here with my wife as we marked our 30th anniversary. Just a short while ago, the calm of this paradise island had been disrupted. Mary, let me understand this clearly. We're here commemorating our 30th wedding anniversary on this amorous island, and you're telling me you want to spend the night with another man? How could you even suggest that? Mark, my love, don't be upset. You know I adore you more than anything in this world. I just need to do this for John and Amy. I know their story has touched you just as it has me. It's only one night, to bring some joy to a dying and isolated old man. And besides, you wouldn't be completely alone. I've noticed how you gaze at Amy. She's a lovely young lady. Yes, Amy is a lovely young lady, but she isn't my wife. I know she wishes for you to be with her father and is ready to be with me to make it happen. But she's not my wife. I've never been unfaithful to you, and just 5 minutes ago I believed you would never be unfaithful to me either. I have never been unfaithful to you, Mark, and I never will. That's why we're having this discussion. Amy and I spoke about it all day while you and John were out riding jet skis. She understands how alone John has felt since he lost his wife 3 years ago. Now, with his prognosis, he has less than 6 months to live, Mark. She just wants him to experience the comfort of being with a woman one last time before he becomes too ill to do so. But why you? Why don't you just find him a woman? Heck, if they can manage a vacation on this island, they can afford a woman too. Amy mentioned she attempted to arrange that on the mainland before they departed, but John became really upset with her. He doesn't approve of paying for intimacy. He believes any woman who joins him should do so freely, out of affection for him, not for his money. So you're saying you have feelings for John? You mentioned it would be sympathy sex, but now you're saying you have feelings for him? It's not just about being compassionate and loving to a dying man. You genuinely want this older man. Don't be harsh. Yes, John is a distinguished and charming man with kind and gentle ways, but he's also quite manly. While I wouldn't do this if he weren't dying, I confess that I think I'll enjoy it. But consider Amy. She's 20 years younger than us and striking. You can't tell me you wouldn't enjoy that. So Mary, it sounds like you've already decided to spend the night in his room. I assume Amy has informed John about your feelings? Did you discuss this with him? Have you already told him that I agreed to let you do this? Yes, Mark, I spoke to John while you were in the shower. I told him a slight fib. I said that we've exchanged partners before, and that you really want to be with Amy. Amy told him she's keen to be with you as well. He was very hesitant, but eventually consented. I told him I'd arrive at their villa at 7:30 and Amy would come here at the same time. So this is how you're asking for my permission. You're just telling me that it's already decided. I really have no say in the matter at all. Well, let me tell you this, I do not consent. If you proceed with this, our marriage could be damaged irreparably. I can't stop you without physically restraining you, and you know I'd never harm you, but this will undoubtedly hurt us. Mark, this is just something I feel compelled to do. Being intimate with a lonely old man, giving him one last chance to feel like a real man, is something I simply must do for him. Please, Mark, enjoy your time with Amy, and tomorrow we'll be together again forever. Mary stood up and walked back to our villa to get ready for her evening. I remained there staring at the ocean. How did this happen to me? My wife is leaving me to spend the night with a man we met just a few days ago, a man who must be at least 60 years old. Mary has always been compassionate, and now she wants to sleep with some compassionate old man out of pity. No, that's just her excuse. She's smitten with this old charmer and is using his diagnosis as an excuse to sleep with the scoundrel. Well, I'm not going to make this easy for her. I rose and made my way to the villa where Mary was clad in a light summer dress and sandals. I could detect the scent of the costly perfume I had gifted her before we departed. She was attaching her second diamond earring. Stop. I gave you those earrings as a symbol of my affection, not for you to look attractive while being unfaithful. Remove them and don't use the perfume I bought you. Wash it off right away. It's bad enough that you're humiliating and betraying me tonight. But I'll be damned if you're going to do it wearing my anniversary gifts. Mark, you're being absurd. I'm not cheating on you. We agreed we're exchanging partners. You'll be with Amy. Now leave and let me finish dressing. I took 3 quick steps across the room and seized her left wrist. I slid her wedding rings off her finger and extended my hand. Give me the earrings, or I'll tear them from your ears. With a scared expression, Mary removed the earrings and placed them in my hand. I pocketed them and turned to leave. "Don't bother returning tomorrow, you might as well stay with them." I went to the fridge, grabbed 6 cans of beer, and returned to my chair on the beach. I sipped the beer and stared at the water, my mind swirling with thoughts. What should I do? What can I do? If Mary came to me right now and said she had cancelled everything, I'm not even sure I could forgive her. But if she goes to him tonight, our marriage is over. I sat in turmoil for over an hour before Amy found me. "Mark, do you want me to join you here, or would you prefer we go inside?" Amy circled my chair and stood before me. "Amy, you're a beautiful young woman, but I am a married man, at least for now. I know you and Mary planned something for tonight, but I never consented to your scheme. I told Mary the first disagreed, yet she went to John anyway. She's being unfaithful with your father. And I'm going to divorce her as soon as we return home." "Oh my God, Mark, you can't think like that. You know why she's doing this? It's an act of compassion. She's not being unfaithful, she loves you, and I know you love her. Please, Mark, let me distract you from this." Amy slid one thin strap of her dress off her shoulder, then the other. Her dress dropped to the ground. Standing completely nude, she took a deep breath, her chest rising firmly. Indeed, she was stunning. Her light blonde hair fluttered in the breeze, her slender hands on her hips, her fiery red nails contrasting her tan skin. She waited for me to look back at her, then smiled. "I think we could have some fun. She's enjoying herself. You deserve some fun too, Mark. I've really been looking forward to being with you tonight. Please, let's go inside, and I'll help you forget about her for one evening." My eyes fixed on the attractive blonde as she reached for me, asking to be taken inside. The 4 beers I'd consumed were nearly enough to let my lust overpower my judgment, but my anger prevailed. I stood up, grasped Amy by the arm, and escorted her back to my villa. I headed straight for the bedroom, instructing Amy to fetch some wine from the fridge. I entered the bedroom and slammed the door shut, sliding the small bolt into place. "Mark, let me in. Why are you doing this? Please, Mark, open the door." "Amy, my wife may have chosen to be an adulteress, but that doesn't mean I have to follow her lead. I made a vow, and I'm sticking to it until I can divorce that woman. You can leave or sleep on the couch, but you're not sleeping with me." Amy tried to persuade me to open the door, but eventually she gave up. I lay down on the bed and covered my head with a pillow. Emotionally exhausted and aided by the beer, I fell asleep. I was roused by another knock at the bedroom door. "Mark, open up. Let me in this time." The voice was my unfaithful soon-to-be ex-wife's. She continued knocking. "Mark, honey, please open the door. We need to talk. We need to put all this behind us. Please, Mark, I love you. I know I hurt you, but it's over now, and tonight we can be together. Please, Mark, this is our last day on the island. I want to spend it with you, my husband." The only man I've ever loved. The room was bathed in bright morning sunlight. I had a slight headache, and the knocking wasn't helping. I got out of bed, walked to the door, and slid the bolt back. Mary burst into the room and rushed to hug me. I pushed her away forcefully. "Don't touch me, you vile woman. You come to me straight from his bed and expect me to welcome you into my arms. You must be completely out of your mind. I can smell him on you even from here. Go take a shower and clean yourself up, you filthy wretch." Mary gasped in shock and then burst into tears. She turned and ran to the bathroom, crying out, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I didn't think, Mark. Please, I'll be out in a few minutes. I'm so sorry." I went to the kitchen and made some coffee. I regretted that there was no self-service on the island, so I couldn't leave before our flight at 6 p.m. I looked at the clock. 11:30. That meant I had to be alone with her the whole damn day. Mary walked into the kitchen. She had wrapped a towel around herself, and her wet curls hung over her bare shoulders. 2 days ago, I would have jumped out of my chair and embraced my beautiful wife. Today, I just sat there sipping my coffee and staring at her. "Mark, I'm all clean now. I washed everything several times. Mark, please, I'm still me. I'm still your wife. Please, honey, say something." "Put some damn clothes on, and then we need to talk about what's going to happen next." "But Mark, aren't you going to take your wife back? Amy and John said you'd want me back. They said you'd want me more than ever. Please, Mark, I want you to take me back, to make me yours again." "Shut your damn mouth, you filthy woman. I'm never touching you again. Now get your cheating ass in there and put some clothes on." Mary burst into tears and ran to the bedroom, slamming the door behind her. She returned as I was pouring the last of the coffee into my cup. Mary saw the empty coffee pot and realized there was no point in asking me to make more. She quietly filled the pot and turned it on. Once the coffee was brewed, she poured herself a cup and sat down at the table. "Mark, Amy told me you locked her out last night. I don't understand why you did that. I thought you would have been having sex all night and then couldn't wait to tell me all about it this morning. I thought we'd have a good laugh about our adventures and then you'd make love to me all day. God, who the hell are you? You can't be the same woman I married 30 years ago. How could you even believe that I would agree to this damn plan?" "Mark, we're on a tiny island. The other 2 villas are empty, so it's just the 4 of us. No one will ever know what we did here. You had a beautiful young woman begging you to have sex with her, and you had my blessing to do it. What sane man would pass up that opportunity? You just don't get it. I loved you, only you. It doesn't matter that no one else would have known what I did, because I would have known. I made a vow, and vows mean that you do what you promised, even when no one is watching. Obviously your vows meant nothing to you, but to me, they meant everything, and you broke them. Mark, I thought you would enjoy it. I knew it might be uncomfortable at first, but I believed that once you got started with Amy, you'd really like it. I didn't know you isolated yourself from her in the bedroom until she told us this morning. I just assumed you had a fantastic night. Just like you, Mary. You mean like your fantastic night having sordid sex with John? Yes, damn it, it was a fantastic night. John is an amazing lover, and I did have a fantastic night. You could have had a fantastic night too, but no, you had to be a damn saint. It's your own damn fault that you missed out on your fantastic evening." I waited until I had my anger under control, then I calmly said, "No, Mary, I've already had 5 fantastic nights with you. I didn't need a fantastic night with Amy. I was looking forward to another fantastic night with you. But you chose to be with John because you believed he needed you." "I needed you too, but I guess that just didn't matter to you." I got up and walked to my lounge chair. I pulled my beach hat down over my eyes and tried to fall asleep. About an hour later, a large shadow loomed over me. I looked up into the smirking face of my wife's lover. "Hey, buddy, I'm really sorry about the confusion. I swear I thought you were on board with the plan last night." He tried to sound sincere, but he couldn't completely hide his smirk. That's when I realized it had all been a setup. This lying jerk had fed Mary a sob story, and the foolish woman fell for it. This guy enjoys sleeping with married women and uses Amy to help make it happen. "I understand, John." I slowly stood up. John extended his right hand for a handshake. I looked at his face, and his smirk was triumphant. He really believed he had outplayed me. I casually lifted my left hand in an awkward handshake. John glanced down at my left hand. I raised my right fist and drove it into his throat. John immediately grabbed his throat with both hands and staggered back. I stepped forward and aimed to send his privates back to the mainland. John dropped to his knees, and I struck him in the temple with my elbow. I seriously considered dragging his limp body into the water and drowning the son of a gun, but then I heard Mary scream. I turned to see her running toward me. She rushed past me straight to the unconscious body sprawled on the beach. "Oh my God, what have you done?" "Oh, John, are you okay?" Mary lightly slapped John, trying to bring him back to consciousness. I had to laugh. She slapped him right near the spot where I had elbowed him. And I thought, that's got to really hurt. I returned to the villa and went inside to grab a beer and something to eat. I sat on the porch and watched as Mary and Amy helped a staggering John back to the villa. When he got closer, he turned and looked at me. The triumphant smirk was gone, replaced by nothing but fear. I didn't see Mary again until the boat arrived. She quickly packed her things and hurried to the pier. When we boarded the boat, Amy and Mary spoke with a crew member, and I assume he used the radio to contact the mainland because we were met by a uniformed officer. "Mark and Mary Stevens," I nodded. "Please come with me." We followed the man into a small office, and he pointed to a couple of chairs. We sat down, and he offered us something to drink before getting serious. "I understand there was an altercation with Ron Cook and his playmate, Amber Jones." "No, officer, you're mistaken. It was the Phillips, John and his daughter," Mary said, staring intently at me. "Oh, are those the names they used this time?" "Excuse me, officer, John and Amy are my new friends, and my husband attacked poor John for no reason." "Ma'am, do me a favor and keep quiet. I want to talk to Mr. Stevens, and I don't want any interruptions." I laughed. "Please call me Mark. How can I assist, officer?" Mark, I think you've figured out Cook's scheme and that's why you expressed your displeasure during your discussion? Maybe, but I'm not admitting to anything. The officer chuckled. You sound like a true American. Well, Mark, this is the fifth time Cook has pulled this stunt with some unsuspecting tourist at least. It's the fifth case we've heard about because of a complaint or a dispute. I have no idea how many times he's gotten away with it. From what I understand, the next step for Miss Jones is to contact your wife in a few months and inform her that her lover has passed away. Then she'll ask your wife for some money to help bring Cook's body back to the States to be buried next to his late wife. Wow, this is an even bigger scam than I thought. He convinces gullible wives to sleep with him, then has his accomplice try to get money from them. Not a bad tactic. Yeah, but thanks to you, I suspect he'll be out of the game, at least at our resort. So who is Jones? She's obviously not his daughter. Amber Jones was a stripper at a club in Miami when Cook met her. He had just won a small lottery prize and convinced her that he was very wealthy. She traveled with him for a while until he devised this scam. And now it's pretty much all they do. She wants to be an actress and thinks this will help her get by. Cook just loves deceiving husbands and then making their gullible wives send Amber money. He bragged that it's like getting the cuckolds to pay him for sleeping with their wives. At that moment, Mary, with tears streaming down her face, began to sob and lament. Oh God, I'm so foolish. I gave up my husband because I believed this lie. Mrs. Stevens, you're not the first woman these two have deceived. I have two other women who want to press fraud charges against Cook and Jones. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Stevens, if you want to drop the charges, I think I can convince Mr. Cook to do the same. Either way, your flight leaves in the morning, and once you're in the air, you'll be out of my jurisdiction. I looked at Mary. She nodded and said, I just want to go home. Please, Mark, just take me home. After we returned home, Mary tried to convince me how sorry she was for doing something so terrible. She claimed that she had been deceived or maybe even hypnotized by John and wasn't in her right mind when she cheated. I served her divorce papers 5 days after we landed. She had a nervous breakdown and was hospitalized for several months. That didn't stop the divorce. She tried to get our adult children to intervene and help her, but once I told them the whole story, they refused to assist her. Eventually, she gave up, and we agreed to a standard 50-50 split. We sold the house for a nice sum. I have to pay alimony for the next 10 years, and after that she'll have a decent nest egg to rely on. Sometimes I look back on it all and marvel at how a trip to paradise ended my 30-year marriage and left me to grow old alone. Fortunately, my daughter had other plans for me and introduced me to her neighbor. We hit it off, and it looks like things might get serious, but I can guarantee that we won't be spending our honeymoon on a paradise island. Thank you for listening until the end. See you in the next episode of Cheating Stories. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Goodbye.